This video will either pinch you and it will be worth it, or it will resonate with you so much as if you're hearing me say things that you know deep down in your heart to be true, but maybe haven't said it out too loud. No matter where you lie on this spectrum, my only request to you would be to watch this video till the very end. I will be presenting 3 artifacts in this video, each more powerful than the previous one, and all of them matter. Let's get into the first one. We all love to say question everything, but what we mean is only question everything else, the stuff you don't already believe. Oh. If asked if there is anything that would shift your position, the answer has to be nothing, right? And that is how you know that whatever you might know is based fundamentally on fear, not on reason. This is a religious position, not a reasonable one. This is the underlying cause of polarization from the right. Ouch. On the left, there is a different but a precisely related underlying cause of polarization that says, we care for the oppressed. But what they actually mean is, only we can be oppressed. That hurts. If we act harshly to someone else, coerce them, dehumanize them, it's justified because we are the victim and everyone else deserves it because they are either the perpetrators or the oppressors. If you disagree with us, you are an agent of the oppressor and we are oppressed by your lack of unquestioning support. To question us is to oppress us. That is the religious position on the left. Ouch. And that is how polarization sustains itself and deepens. Politics is right now a religious mania with 2 self-sustaining poles. The driving force is suspicion and blame. Suspicion and blame. It is tribalism at the bottom. Tribalism. And beneath that is always fear. Someone is profiting from your ignorance of this. This is a post a fellow philosopher friend of mine, Rocco Jarman, recently shared on his Facebook page. How powerful, isn't it? I really want you to appreciate what he says here. I mean, both sides on the political scale, globally right now, not talking about a particular nation, but globally, both sides are driven by fear, not by reason, not by a common cause towards a common good. Most of that is almost superficial now. Underneath is almost only fear. And there are people actually gaming this fear to keep you engaged in the conflict. By saying that, I do not mean that every leader in every political party is a person who is conspicuously keeping all of us afraid. There are such people too. Of course there are. But I think the majority of political leaders right now are themselves too entangled in this game of fear. They are almost like the afraid trying to keep you afraid, trying to keep you within the conflict because they themselves are too afraid to actually look at what is the reality. And here's something more to consider. Both sides believe this to be true for the other side. Both sides believe that already. Both sides believe it is almost entirely impossible to have a reasonable conversation with the other side. Both sides ridicule the fears of the other side. Both sides actually feel that it's the other side that is brainwashed. They feel this way about the other side, not about themselves. Somebody somewhere is being unreasonable, guys. Could it be actually both the sides? It is, like Rocco mentions, a religious mania with 2 self-sustaining poles. Self-sustaining poles. I think this precisely describes the left and the right globally. Of course, every country has their own coloring on top of this basic framework. In fact, every single human being has their own coloring on top of this basic framework. But if you look at the nitty-gritties, this basic framework holds. And talking about frameworks, I want to now present a second artifact. It's another post from the same author, Rocco Jarman, where he actually talks about how to resolve this conflict. It matters. It really matters. But before we go on to that, if you're not a subscriber of this channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, because this is not just another YouTube channel. This matters if you really want to improve your YouTube feed. And let's be honest, you do. So subscribe and let's get into the second one. Whoever wants to keep the problem in place is served by the tension at the base. The tension at the base and the problem, therefore, is solved by transcending the conflict and focusing on the actual problem more than the conflict. This is the dysfunction in relationships expressed as troubled marriages at the level of individuals and as politics at the level of groups. This is precisely true for internal conflict and the resolution of all paradoxes. In the face of apparent contradiction, explore the transcendent perspective. It's necessary to do so. This is the law of necessity. I think this is so fundamentally powerful, man. Consider that you are in a troubled marriage right now. You can either keep holding on to your own positions and keep the troubled marriage going, or you can wake up one day and realize that, hang on a minute, living like this is actually toxic and unhealthy for the both of us. And therefore it's a necessity to wake up and let go of our favorite positions in favor of a transcendent perspective, so that we can actually solve the failing marriage. Because what we care about fundamentally, what we care about deep in our heart and also in our minds, is the marriage, not our favorite positions within the marriage. That is absolutely necessary. That's absolutely fundamental. Now, if you apply this metaphor to politics and your current behavior or your previous behaviors make you feel like a fool, if this pinches you, you know where you have actually been contributing to the problem rather than the solution. But like they say, unless your past selves feel like a fool to you, you're not really growing. So especially at this moment, you can actually be grateful that you're actually growing up. Let's see what more Rocco has to say about this. If you cannot imagine that a transcendent perspective exists, it means your cognitive apparatus is overtaxed. This is why people fast. This is why people meditate and step away from problems. We call this overtaxing and overstimulation overwhelm. The cure for overwhelm is fresh perspective, and we call that stepping away grace. The more you care about a problem, the more it can draw you in. This is important. The more you care about a problem, the more it can actually draw you in. The more you care about finding a solution, the more you will be served by a fresh perspective. Social media amplifies the conflict, and propagates relentless engagement in it. Relentless engagement only within the conflict at the bottom, not within the solution. Again, absolute gold, I tell you. Do this experiment for yourself one day, honestly. If you're someone who takes politics very seriously, religiously following political news, sharing your opinions, voicing what you feel to be true, especially if you feel that one side is obviously right in the political spectrum, just take a step back. Take a step back for 30 days, and when you come back, you'll realize for yourself that almost nothing within the game has changed, except for the outward reason why the sides are fighting right now, why people are ridiculing the other side or blowing their own trumpets right now. Nothing in the game would have changed. No matter how urgent your current game seems to you, it will remain that urgent even after the month. And the circus is always going to be there. The circus is always going to be there for you to come back in and blow your trumpet in. But if you really care about the marriage in that previous metaphor, if you really care about the actual problem that you're trying to solve, there is no version of that problem which does not benefit by you stepping away and taking a fresh perspective on things. If you actually care about finding a solution, not being a part of the conflict. And that really matters. If that really matters to you anyway, it doesn't matter if you are the first one taking a step back. Because like I just mentioned, take a step back for 30 days and see for yourself that nothing in the game changes ever. It's always the same game. It's only the outward manifestation of the fight which keeps on changing. Blah blah Harris, blah blah Trump, them, they, us, we. The pain you both cause yourselves and each other is self-caused. Self-caused from a perspective that sees us all as one people. Again, I really want you to appreciate what is being said here. This is a human truth. This is not just true for the USA right now. Simply because the author has used Harris and Trump, it doesn't mean that this is true only for the USA. It's a human truth right now. The pain you both cause yourselves and each other is self-caused. Self-caused. And we can say that from a perspective that knows us all to be one people. I mean, aren't we all eventually part of the same team, one human team? It's the fact that we have lost that perspective in our modern lives, that we consider very similar people on the other side to be our arch enemies. And we consider that just the fact that we win the next elections over these people, that is going to solve the problem. It is not going to solve any problem. In fact, it's only going to keep causing the conflict to be more and more. And from that perspective, from a higher perspective to that, this pain is actually self caused. It is self caused by the human mind to itself. The more one side pulls left, the more the other side will pull right. Today it's about this law and grievance, tomorrow it will be something else. They have their beliefs about what better looks like, and you have yours. And neither serve the other. And so the division just continues. And neither serves the suffering whole. Neither serves the suffering whole. Politics is not and cannot be the tide that raises all boats. Corruption is a real issue. Manipulation of the economy, injustice, inequality of means, thought and language policing, they are all real issues. Climate change, however distorted for one team's benefit, is a real enough issue. But coherence as a society is a real issue too. All of them will ensure our destruction, but one of them makes the other ones worse. And that is incoherence as a society. Again, I really want you to appreciate what he's saying here. There are a bunch of issues plaguing our societies globally and locally right now. Climate change, corruption, income inequality, all the rest of them. There are all real issues and we need to solve them. I'm not trying to belittle them, but when he says that one issue that overarchingly makes all of them worse is our incoherence as a society right now. Consider the fact that almost no one on different sides of the scale in any of these issues can anymore have a conversation with the other person without either getting offended or without offending the other person, or without considering that this is an unreasonable conversation and we just cannot continue, or at best we are able to say let's just agree to disagree, which is almost honestly a short form for I know that I'm right and you're not agreeing, so do whatever you want to do because you're not going to agree with me anyway. This incoherence as a society right now is just too much. It's peaking now. You know, Yuval Noah Harari, author of that best-selling book Sapiens, recently said in an interview that we humans have the best information systems in our history ever. And with that, you would imagine that our communication is at its best ever. But that is literally the opposite of what's happening right now. We simply do not seem to be able to converge on any topic because almost all information on the internet is literally junk. Almost all of us are shown personalized feeds which keep confirming what we already believe to be true. And we only seem to be keep diverging into different, very strongly minded groups, mind you. And there is literally no coherence between these two. Both of them consider each other to be absolutely unreasonable. Both of them ridicule the beliefs of the other side while holding on to their own beliefs. And there is simply no coherence whatsoever. How do we imagine we'll solve any problem together unless we solve this problem first? We are literally divided inside right now. We have literally forgotten that we are part of the same team. I mean, consider a husband and a wife who have forgotten that they're actually in a marriage, who have started to believe as if it's more important to win the next argument rather than actually care about what is to be cared about, for example, their children. That is a recipe for disaster, right? Such a marriage cannot prosper. It cannot be healthy for both of them. It cannot be healthy for their children. It cannot be healthy for anyone who stays around them. And that is literally the state of our politics right now. That is literally the state of global politics right now. There is literally a necessity now to actually grow up and act better as individuals and as a society. Otherwise, as Rocco says here, there are all these bunch of issues that are plaguing our societies right now, but this incoherence, which is at its peak already, will actually make all of these issues even that much worse. Let's get back to the article now. We do not solve our biggest and most pressing problems via bickering and dehumanizing each other. But in that behavior, the left and the right are the same, through and through. Argumentative, belittling, belligerent, immune to fair criticism, spiteful, petty, and ultimately both part of the problem and not a part of the solution. Your inability to notice this about yourself and the whole situation situates you as a child, or at best an adolescent, in a circumstance that requires adult pragmatism and leadership. Ouch! So, this is it. As he rightly says in the end, the question to sit with is literally, are you acting as an adult right now, or are you acting as a child? In fact, this is one question that Rocco keeps asking me to sit with, and that is, in fact, there are two questions. How can I help? And is my help helping? So fundamentally powerful, man. Just sit with these questions for yourself, and ultimately, at their rock bottom, these questions are really, are you being a part of the problem, or are you being a part of the solution right now? Such powerful questions to sit with for yourself. And let me assure you, if you still feel that winning the next argument, or winning the next election, or winning the next comment battle on Facebook or on your WhatsApp status or in your WhatsApp groups is being a part of the solution, you're mistaken. You're heavily mistaken. If it's still not clear to you, I would highly recommend going through my Beyond Politics video series. That is in fact a video series, a 4-part series I recorded with the author of these 3 posts, Rocco Jarman. It is a beautiful series. I really appreciate it. I mean, I keep going back to it myself, especially my summary video of that series. So I would highly recommend you do that. The 3 artifacts that I've shared in this video are also available in PDF format for you down below in the description. So make sure you check them out too. And just upgrade your consciousness, upgrade your awareness. Because like I said, if you want to be a part of the solution, you have to upgrade yourself. There is no version of any problem that you want to solve that is not benefited by you stepping back and upgrading your own consciousness, your own awareness, your own understanding, and your own transcendence of the conflict at the bottom. And now one more time, I cannot stress this enough, how this is not just another YouTube channel that you subscribe to. This is literally a game-changing consciousness upgrade coming directly for you from a member of your own team. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share this with your friends and family, people that you actually literally care about. This will be worth their while. This is going somewhere, I promise. So that's it, you good people of the internet. I'll see you in the playground soon again. Until next time, peace out.